Welcome to Walden and Civil Disobedience. Let's get this started with. Now, Walden is an interesting novel. By itself, it is one of the most influential novels in the entirety of human history. There is probably no other novel in the world that goes ahead and tells us more about our own modern lives and how we talk about it. Technically, how we live about it. But here's the catch. This gives us the best advice. Walden gives us the best advice on how to live our lives, our modern lives with technology, computers. But where it comes from, the advice that is written is from a 19th century person who lived in the woods alone and refused to pay his taxes, at least for 6 years. His name is Henry David Thoreau, and Henry David Thoreau, the protege and student of Ralph Waldo Emerson, is basically one of the most interesting people that I've ever seen in Psycho 2. Henry David Thoreau himself had a bit of a stubbornness himself. He famously refused a higher master's degree, which only cost him $5. And for this, his reason is, let another sheep go ahead and keep its skin, because back then Harvard degrees were created from sheepskin, and I'm not really sure why he rejected that. So he graduated from Harvard, but he went ahead and rejected the normal professions such as the church, the doctor, and the lawyer. Instead, he went ahead and became an author. He went ahead, did things, became a part of Ralph Waldo Emerson, and eventually became a part of Ralph Waldo Emerson's Transcendentalism. After living for 2 years with Ralph Waldo Emerson's family, and then Ralph Waldo Emerson and his wife giving him the side eye, signaling that he's been living here for a bit too long, he went ahead and he was given permission to build a cabin near Walden Pond on Ralph Waldo Emerson's property. He went ahead and built it, and during his time there, though his 2 years there, he would stay there for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. He wrote Walden, also known as Life in the Woods. This Walden is actually the thing that went ahead and inspired a bunch of nature lovers, and even Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, and many other contemporaries themselves as well too. His reason? I'm quoting this from the book itself. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to find only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what I had to teach, and not, if I came to die, and discover that I had not lived. And this is why, as Henry David Thoreau went ahead and lived in the woods too, show that back then, the normal way of life, the common man's way of life, there's actually an alternative towards doing it as well too. Henry David Thoreau himself explains that he went to the woods near Walden Pond. Number one reason, because he was kicked out of Ralph Waldo Emerson's house. Number two reason is because he went ahead and did things a little too differently. In today's modern society, we go ahead and live in a place where a standard man is actually expected to go ahead and use a bunch of new technology, as well as going ahead with household relationships. He himself, however, says that maybe sometimes we go ahead and try to use relationships to fill in gaps inside ourselves too. It's the best way to actually understand ourselves is to be able to become our own best friend. As well as becoming our own best friend, other things start happening, and we put ourselves in the standards of the entire world. We live in a good, fulfilling life in our modern-day society, and maybe it is a little time to go ahead and do things. So civil disobedience isn't anything new. Protests have been coming up since, well, for the Americans, the latest they've ever done was American Revolution. That was when they did their civil disobedience, at least their first civil disobedience, the UK government. Then they expect civil obedience from their own citizens towards their own country, and most of them comply because they just did some civil disobedience to make new civil obedience. What do you think? Walden, the book itself, goes ahead and goes through the seasons themselves. So throughout the book, however, you have to go ahead and catch your eye on certain references towards other books as well, that range from sources from Greek mythology all the way to the latest, possibly 19th century novels themselves. You have to actually go ahead and dig deeper. In fact, there are probably more allegories to this book than we probably know, because some of the books that the book has referenced is actually may have actually ceased to exist. During the spring, the summer, the autumn, the winter, and then back to spring again, he went ahead, built a cabin, became self-reliant, prepared for winter. During winter, he just went ahead, studied animals and the ice of Walden Pond. And in the spring, he went ahead and started transition between cold winter on the way through spring. He went ahead. With all this, you can go ahead and figure out things that probably are not the greatest thing that could ever happen towards you too. You may not be going to live in the woods like Henry David Thoreau did for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. But you might actually go ahead and you can go ahead and go around a little nature walk as well as looking and reflecting on your own life. You have to go ahead and reflect on your own life too. Nature is the best teacher for that as well too. If you have a garden or a farm, just go ahead and look at the plants and see what they can teach you things too. For Henry David Thoreau himself, the beings actually taught him something, and apparently it's that he can grow as well too. You can observe nature and see what you can learn from it, and how you can also copy nature as well too. For in the eyes of Mother Nature and evolution, humans are just another animal species. It needs to be well kept, well fed, well slept, well rested. All that that's just basically what we need. But we humans are built different. Even Henry David Thoreau himself actually admits that as well too. And we ourselves are higher animals because we can think, we can use our brains. We must use those brains and go ahead and understand ourselves inside of here too. There are some animals that have less of a soul than us, but there are other animals that have probably more of a soul than us, more moral soul than us as well too. At least I'm just quoting this from another author here. Henry David Thoreau didn't actually say this, but I'm not actually a religious person. I only pray to like the dead people. Unfortunately, I don't pray to gods or things. I'm sorry, but yeah. Throughout his entire life, Henry David Thoreau has taught us the meanings of life too. Civil disobedience is necessary. What do you think revolutions are? As well as things too. We can go ahead and protest against the government. And we practice civil disobedience, which he also wrote an essay called Civil Disobedience on after he spent a night in jail refusing to pay his taxes. We can go ahead and go learn from nature what it can teach us too. Human teachers are nothing compared to what the nature can give us too. Only certain people can actually understand it, so the dumb person won't be able to understand nature as well as Henry David Thoreau and his transcendentalists can as well too. Nature is truly a great teacher, and before we can change the world, we must change ourselves. New technologies are awesome, but I'm using a 19th century example here too. The telegraph is practically useless. It's like, yeah, we're connecting the Maine and Texas with a telegraph, but that telegraph is useless because Maine and Texas have nothing to talk about as well too. He even said this: the man has created a coach for the horse to pull, and for the coach to carry the man, but the man forgot how to use his legs to walk around long distances. Only a few people today still do that. And of course, we can go ahead and read Walden yourself and find out why it is so influential and how it inspired lots and lots of nature lovers and peaceful protesters such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi. Walden is a very overlooked book in today's modern society, especially in my generation. My generation somehow, for some reason, doesn't really like that much literature as well too, at least from what I've seen. My friend group, though, doesn't really read a lot of books themselves too. You really need to understand Western as well as Eastern literature to go ahead and understand things too. If you want to understand Walden perfectly, well then, good luck. You're going to need to read hundreds of books, ranging all the way from China all the way back to America as well too. Walden may be about 200 years old, but it is still kind of useful in today's modern society. I'm going to repeat this again, something I already said. Before you can change the world, we must change ourselves. Few people have done that. And so maybe you can go ahead and do that for yourself too. Read Walden, learn from it, and maybe take a walk on nature once in a while. And that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really hope you guys will also read Walden and probably not do that much civil disobedience. But when it's necessary or when you think it's necessary, gotta do it. It's your choice, not mine. See you guys soon. Until next time, Sean, peace. Bye bye.